Hello and welcome to this Project in a Box video tour. In this session we're going to be having a look at the new features of version 4.4 and in particular focusing on the browser features, the new extended browser features, file management, risk and issue planner, edits and reporting to Word. Okay, so here we are in the browser interface. I've logged in and come through to my select project area, and I can see my portfolios and projects. So I'm just going to simply select my project, this CRM replacement one here, and then we can go off to the Explorer and have a look at the new file management features. So accessing our processors exactly the same as it has been all the way through. Obviously you can expand the image if you need to read the words in more detail, but as we come in fact we'll pick a different process. As we come through to the document area, we can click to select our document or indeed our file. You'll notice now that you get this sort of highlight bar which shows you which one you currently have selected, and that's because once you have something selected you can right click on it and get a right click menu, just like you would do in the Windows application. It'll have the same items on it, and in fact, just to point that out, if it's highlighted on the document and you try and right click on the file, you don't get anything. If the file is highlighted, you obviously get a different menu for the file, but if you try and right click on the document, you won't get your document menu. So you have to be right clicking on the thing that's currently highlighted. So the document menu is offering you the things that, as I say, you can do in the Windows application, which you couldn't previously do here. So you can now add new documents here, and you can add existing documents here. So personalising the structure of a standard method away from what's built from the method template to add extra documents in, to move documents around between processes, etc., to rename them, to remove documents from here and put them into to remove them from this particular process, leave them in others, or to recycle a document, to remove it from all the processes and put it into the recycle bin. I'll have a look at the recycle bin in just a second. You can also move the documents up and down in the order of the tree, and move to top, move up, move down, move to bottom, or reset document order, which puts it back to an alphabetic order. And you can also manage notifications, and we'll have a little look at that in a moment as well. So I'm not going to go through the details of these things because they're be familiar to people that have been using the Windows application already, but they just allow you to complete that piece. So now in terms of editing, the day-to-day management of your project, you can do that pretty completely from the browser. So let's have a look at the recycle bin. I'm going to put this document, in fact I'm not going to put that document, I'm going to put a different document here, this test document, into the recycle bin, like that, recycle document. And that will now have appeared in the recycle bin, which is in specialist, down here, and we can see we've got our recycle bin. Now you've been able to see that for a while, but you wouldn't have been able to particularly manage it. Exactly the same things apply as happened before. I can come to my document, I can right click on it, select it, right click on it. I can then permanently delete it from here if I want to, or I can move it, and moving it allows me to put it back into the project process in the appropriate place that I think it should be. So I can put it into the specialist area that I want, and then once it's back in the main process I can do add new document to move it into my management processes, etc. We can also deal with, of course, the recycle files here, so I can again delete them permanently or move them back into a document. And I can pick a document, so if we did move file like that, I could pick a document from somewhere in the project tree and put those files into that document. So exactly the same sort of thing applies here. Same with folders again, so I can select a folder, right click, and that's a folder in the recycle bin, of course, and move or delete it. And the same would apply to folders that are in my specialist area. I can right click and do add folder, etc. So right click on the documents, it gives now, as I say, the same menu as it did previously. The other one we wanted to look at was the notification management form. And so we'll see here we can it's exactly the same as it is again on the Windows application. We can choose to set up a notification. This one has one running on check-in, and we can give it a description. We can switch them off. we can do an if not checked in by rule. And we can see here in the history, I can see when it's been triggered since it was set up. And I can also manage my other recipients list as well. We're going to focus more on this selection of users form, this new part of the form, in the third video session, but you'll see it's the same here on the browser as it is in the Windows application, allowing us to select users and search based on various fields. So setting up your notifications you can now do as well. That's notifications on checkout, check-in, approval, changes, etc. You also have the ability to control things for the file, but these are the same things, checkout to email, recycle, etc., that you could already do from the menu. We've just put them on a right click as well. Okay, so that's looking at the file management changes. Next we're going to have a look at risk and issue planner edits. So when we come to the controls menu here, we of course can see our task, risks, issues, resources analysis in here, but we can also edit as well. Now in the last version 4.3 we introduced here checkout and edit of plans. That checkout and edit mechanism is exactly the same, but rather than just being able to edit tasks as you could previously, you can now edit risks and issues, and we've rationalized the management of these areas a little bit up here. So you simply, this is only of course for planner content, so essentially we're checking out the planner file. Rather than the normal way we'd check it out and open it using an application, and we'd do that from the Explorer, here we're checking it out and it's been held on the server for us and we're interacting with it through the browser. So it is now checked out, and I now have the option of choosing tasks, risks and issues. If my planner file only supported, for example, risks, it was a risk register, I would only be able to access risks. So it's letting me know I can access any of these three. The tasks one we've obviously seen before. That was here through from, like I say, version 4.3, where we can see the plan and edit the tasks, etc. Whereas I say we have a file which supports tasks, risks and issues. We can see all those here. So here's my risks view, so I can come and either edit an existing risk, or of course I can add one. I can move them up and down the list, I can delete them, etc. So we're going to edit this final one down here, which is currently an open one, and you'll see the forms are exactly the same as they are in Planner for editing the particular risk. I can type in some information here, I can change the status of it like that, action pending. I can come and change my inherent or residual values, so we might take that one down a little bit, and of course this will respond to how you've got your planner set up. So if you're using impact probability as categories, then it would follow that. And of course we have comment, where we can put in whatever words we need to around what's going on. Now the thing that is slightly different here is the responses. The responses are not managed in this form, they're managed in a section below. So once I have updated my risk and I have my risk selected, I can then add to it responses in the bottom pane. So I simply edit my response there, and I can work my way through filling in the same response details as we had before, and I can add a second response and a third response, etc. to that. So slight difference there, and of course you don't have the analysis options here in terms of charts and grids, etc. To get all that sort of stuff, you would check the register back in and go and look in your main controls area up here. Of course, while we're in here, we can come and do issues at the same time. Obviously the same sorts of things apply in terms of add, edit, working on responses, etc. So that's all pretty straightforward. If you're familiar with using Planner already, these forms will be fairly easy to use. Like I say, there is just this slight difference in terms of how you might manage your responses. So the third area I wanted to show you on the browser changes is reporting to Word. So if we come through to our dashboard and select the particular report we're going to run. Now obviously we've been able to do various different types of reports in here for a long time, and it's using the same report saved templates that we had in the main application, in the Windows application. and you could in fact have selected poster to Word, and it would have done pretty much the same things it's going to do now actually. So I'm just going to do create here while I'm talking about it, and it's going to go away and create that report for me. Now, because it needs to open it in the browser, it's going to use the browser type instructions that form part of that report definition to create that report for me. So this is what would have happened before. Let me just hide that away. So we can see our report being created using the HTML part of the instructions there for us to view immediately. But now you'll see when you select a report that's defined to go to Word, you will see now this extra link to open the Word report file. So I'm going to use the link here to open the Word report. It's going to download it, and I can then open it, and there we can see our Word report. Now I could save it or do whatever I want to with it at this point in the usual sort of way. Good, so that's the changes we've been making to the browser interface. I hope you found that very helpful. There'll be 2 further sessions on project interdependencies and the other additions to the new version 4.4 to follow shortly. Thank you.